Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Bingo, it's Kimbo. I'm Kim, also known as the Goodtoall Dr. Sim, and this is part 2 of the Vagina Demystified series, where I will be exploring the normal and not so normal conditions of the female reproductive system. As discussed last week in part 1, discharge is a normal part of the vaginal flora. However, there are certain factors that influence the color and consistency of this discharge. These factors include stress, vaginal infections, our diets, and most notably, the menstrual cycle. This week, we will be exploring the latter. Before diving into the menstrual cycle, let's do a quick anatomy lesson with the trivia question from my Instagram page, at Dr. Goodtoall. Trust me, once you get this, it will be easier to grasp the menstrual cycle. So, 1 and 3 you would have learned in last week's video. 1 is the vagina, and 3 is the neck of the uterus called the cervix, thus making 2 the uterus, coined as the womb. The 2 tubes in the photo are number 4, the fallopian tubes, and lastly 5 represents the ovaries. Pretty simple, right? Good. Make sure you tattoo it in your brain. Don't forget it, because this is the foundation of what we're going to be talking about today. So the menstrual cycle, what is this gift from Mother Nature that understandably some women wish they could give back? Well, it's a series of changes orchestrated by hormones that a woman's body goes through in preparation for the possibility of pregnancy. Every approximately 28 days, 23 to 35 for some women, an egg is released from one of the ovaries in a process called ovulation. If this ovulation takes place and the released egg isn't fertilized, the lining of the uterus, called the endometrium, is expelled through the vagina as what we know as the period or menstruation. Now that we've summarized it all, let's dive into the different stages of your menstrual cycle. Yes, there are stages to this thing, 4 to be exact, and not just one bleeding phase, alright? And these phases are called the menstrual phase, follicular phase, ovulatory phase, and luteal phase. The length of each phase can differ from woman to woman, and it can change over time. And they each have specific hormones, symptoms, and discharges associated with them to help guide us along the way of knowing where we are in our cycle. So usually when the menstrual cycle is explained, the first phase, the menstrual phase, understandably, is explored first. However, because I truly want you guys to understand each phase, I will be starting with the follicular phase. This phase is the time in between the first day of your period to ovulation. Parts of your brain release a hormone called follicle stimulating hormone, or FSH, which literally does as its name says, stimulates follicles. Your ovaries, in response to this hormone, produce 5 to 20 small follicles, each containing an immature egg. And by the end of this phase, the strongest and healthiest egg will survive and the others will be reabsorbed. In other words, you survived, honey, you made it through, and now you're here. You get it? Great. So the mature egg then begins to release estrogen, which stimulates the uterus to prepare for pregnancy by engorging its lining with blood, the perfect cushiony, nutrient-rich environment for an egg to attach. So the follicular phase is typically the good time of the month for women. Why? Because estrogen levels are higher than what they normally are, resulting in serotonin levels, the feel-good hormone, to be high as well. Also, estrogen is known to be an inhibitor of stress hormones, so we just overall have a better time as a result of these things. The discharge at this time is usually clear, or white, and increases in quantity as the time grows nearer to the end of the phase and closer to the ovulatory phase. So what is this ovulatory phase? This phase usually occurs mid-cycle for some. That may mean approximately day 14 to 16. The rising estrogen levels stimulate another hormone in the brain called luteinizing hormone. Let's just call it LH. And a sharp increase in this hormone results in the mature egg we spoke about to be ejected out of the ovary into the fallopian tube, leaving behind a cyst or a sac in the ovary in its memory. This phase lasts approximately 12 to 48 hours, and if the egg is not fertilized during this time, it will be reabsorbed. Okay, now we're gonna stick a pin real quick. Please know that sperm can live inside of the vagina for up to 5 days. Therefore, its presence up to 5 days prior to ovulation can result in pregnancy. Therefore, days 9 to 16, with day 1 being the first day of your period, is the most fertile period of time for any woman. Okay? Good. Also tattoo that in your head. So back to the ovulatory phase. Your body can respond to this phase with a maintained good mood for some women. For others, you have breast firmness or fullness and increased body temperature, mild pelvic discomfort, and increased libido as the body is literally knocking, hello, we're ready for a baby, as it has literally modified almost everything for this, and you have one job. Most notably, the vaginal discharge during this time can become really thick, white to off-white, and range from very sticky to stringy, the perfect environment to encourage a successful fertilization. The luteal phase is the last phase of the menstrual cycle and occurs approximately days 17 to 28 for those with a 28-day cycle. And remember that cyst that the egg leaves behind? Well, it secretes a hormone over the next 11 to 17 days until it degenerates. This hormone is progesterone that helps to further maintain the uterus just in case fertilization occurred. This P may as well be the P in PMS because it's the cause of the madness, but instead it's for premenstrual syndrome, where some women experience
increased irritation, mood swings, bloating, cramping, insomnia, salty food cravings, sweet food cravings, breast tenderness, headaches, weight gain, depression.
Just to name a few. I mean, who's counting? In fact, I want you guys to comment some of your PMS symptoms below because I know I'm not alone here, and yes, I just described my PMS. It's unfortunate, but so it go. That's how the body works. I just learned to embrace it, not get frustrated with it, and drink a lot of water, engage in activities that can increase my serotonin levels and feeling good, like exercising, sleeping well, and the works. Why does progesterone cause this? Well, unlike estrogen, it stimulates stress hormones in our body, which result in these things through different pathways. The discharge at this time is usually minimal and clear to off-white. Now let's dive into the menstrual phase, the first phase of the menstrual cycle. After the last phase of the cycle, the luteal phase, the body enters the same cycle again, starting with the bleeding part, the menstrual phase. This phase starts on day 1 of your cycle when the egg from the previous cycle isn't fertilized and the cyst or sac in the ovary degenerates. In other words, when pregnancy doesn't occur, we bleed. Estrogen and progesterone, the uterus lining builder uppers, levels sharply decline, and the blood that builds up over the previous cycle is then shed through the vagina. During this time, your body may experience aches and moderate pains. Usually, if the pain is crazy intense, there is an underlying problem, such as fibroids, endometriosis, and many more pathologies that I promise to get into at another time. The discharge, as you can imagine, is blood and a bit of mucus from the uterus. After about 2 to 7 days of this, the menstrual phase ends and you continue with the follicular phase, which also started on day 1 of your cycle. So to summarize, every woman's menstrual cycle is different. What's normal for you might not be normal for someone else. And it's important to get familiar with your cycle. Learn your body, know when you're changing, know your mood changes, know the discharge changes and the works. Most importantly, know when you normally get your period and how long it lasts so that if anything changes, you're able to pinpoint it immediately. I use my journal with tons of colored pens. I'm old-fashioned, guys. But I want you guys to comment below ways that you chart your period because maybe it will help someone else. I truly hope you understand this beautiful surging miracle of blood. Let me know if you learned something new. And don't forget to like, share, and follow me on my socials. Bingo, it's Kimbo and Dr.Goodtoall. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Stay safe, stay sanitized, stay beautiful. With love, the Goodtoall Doctor.